to Tales from the Grime Knight. As I walked the pews, I passed cherry almond mahogany wood. Frankincense and myrrh permeate through the rows. The French blue carpet beneath my feet seems all too familiar. Smiles fastened ear to ear about every face I pass. Hats brimming with pride upon several women's heads. Few were veiled by sheer black or white lace. Even fewer adorned themselves with silk gloves. Men draped in fine suits with extended bellies exuded a certain foreboding conviction. It seems all eyes were locked upon me. These discerning gazes were due to the task at hand. Today, I would surrender my heart and soul to the Lord. Clouds as white as sheets of snow would spread apart as shafts of light shine down upon me. Its brilliance resembles that of dandelions. Eclipse by stained glass, a spectrum of crimson, azul, and jade mixed into yellow hues. Sopranos and altos combined to serenade this union. White candles flickered with figure of Christ, though on stage was but a man. After me, men and women alike born into sin, sons of Jacob and Esau alike, ready to purge the sins of our forefathers and mothers. It was all too unnerving. Something deep within just didn't feel right. I wanted to be saved by Jesus, though I couldn't feel his presence among me as I looked at the pastor. With a decrepit smile, his teeth hung crooked and unferal. Something about him mangled my spirit. Rarely had I seen ebony skin be so haggard and aged. Slowly I pedaled backward down the aisles. Testifiers beckoned me to forge onward. Witnesses, seated within the pews, seemed confused. My rejection of this union was soon met with frowns, faces twisted from approval to denouncement. Unable to withstand my anxiety, I turned about face and barreled out of the church doors. 3 miles felt like a mere block. Diligently, I ran as if my life depended on it. I vowed to never return to that church. My parents would try to force me to return. Each week I would scream, clinging to my bedpost. Father would try to wrench me from my post, though I clung so tight that I made permanent impressions on the wooden frame. It's as if my soul depended on the sanctity of my room. Soon my parents would stop trying on the Sabbath day. Discouraged and ashamed, they gave up on me. Father bellowed, "Let him live in eternal damnation." Why did my damnation feel like salvation? While they went into church of judgment, I stayed home free. Each Sabbath day, I would read fantasy and vicariously live out my dreams. So many beautiful lifetime experiences were mine to behold. Yet my books were hidden, folded into clean clothes, drawers filled with proverbial adventures. For a decade, I kept those separate lives safe. Both mother and father long ago gave up on me. Though, when I picked up my trunk to go away, those books I had to leave behind. It was time to live out my fantasy. Proudly, my parents saw me off. It was a mix of honor and disappointment. Glad that I would be off to college. Sad that I never accepted their Christ. Finally, I arrived at my first independent space. Well, as independent as one could be with a roommate. It was an unassuming room with white tile floors, one window with a ficus in front of it. It brought a sense of life to the room. Somber downlight phased through the window upon the white wall. 2 beds separated by 2 desks and drawers was the room arrangement. The bed closest to the door had already been claimed. Tears webbed up in my mother's eyes. Her lips quivered as her nose twitched. Suddenly, she began wailing while clenching onto me tight. My father embraced us both. It was the first time in a long time since I felt this level of acceptance. Mother looked into my eyes and sighed. "Son, I love you." She couldn't bear to continue to look at me. I could feel the heartbreak within the warmth of her tears. Father unwrapped a rectangular cloth. Soon he revealed a book. This book was heavy and all black with gold pages. Written were the words, "The Holy Bible." As he handed me the book, he firmly said, "Son, Christ never gave up on you." As they both departed, I felt as if I was walking in knee-high sludge. Clothes felt like they were weighted. As I lay, looking up at the ceiling, a thought came over me. Both my parents are really gone, and I'm all alone. Exhaling deep for the first time in months, I rejoiced. Feeling lighter than shaving cream, I jutted up from my bed, arms fully erected and prancing around like a jovial fool, when suddenly my roommate crept in. Frozen in an awkward stance, I locked eyes with him. He sighed and walked over to the mini-fridge by his bed. As the refrigerator opened, he asked, "You're not going to kill me in my sleep, are you?" Instantly, I blurted out, No, I'm not a weirdo. This is just my first time being this." Popping an energy drink open, he pursed his lips. Then he took a deep swig and panted as if in pain. Quickly, he shook his head from left to right and replied, "Yup, just my luck. A complete basket case. Check it out. Keep your shit over there, and I'll keep mine over here." Flustered and mortified, I began to sweat. Then I said to him, "I'm so sorry. I know that looked weird, and I'm..." Bawling his eyes out laughing, he falls back onto his bed, drink in hand. Quickly he retorted, "I'm completely fucking with you. My name is Ryan. Pleased to meet you." I could still feel my heart skipping octaves and my tongue numbing. Taking some deep breaths, I calmed down and said, "My name is Jaquan." Ryan looked puzzled and belted, "Damn, you kind of look like a John. I'm gonna call you John." Before a thought could pass, my mind yelled, "No, you can call me Jaquan." 5 seconds passed of silence and petrified faces. Within an instant, Ryan bursted out laughing while holding his sides. Bits of his energy drink sloshed around and hit the blanket. Ryan, with tears in his eyes, said, Hey, chill out, dude. I'm completely messing with you." I shared an awkward laugh at first until it became genuine. We spent a little time getting to know one another. As time passed, I noticed there was a certain charm to this jokester. We both had similar upbringings, despite being from different cultures, though it was reassuring to know that we had so much in common. Nevertheless, the next day always comes. Most of my classes were rather smooth. Hell, I could even say I was having a great day. Entering my last class of the day, a breath crept down my backside. As it rolled down, I felt uncomfortable, yet familiar, to another point in my life. Against the nape of my neck, words were uttered. "I never gave up on you." With great urgency, I hopped forward and turned in the direction of the voice. With plaque-ridden and crooked teeth, there he stood, the pastor from over a decade ago. At a loss for words, I stammered, forcing out the phrase, What did you say?" Concealing those fangs for teeth, he said, "Christ never gave up on you, as God awaits all his children. Now take your seat." Within my mind, I regretted taking a morality class. "The first day was fine," he bolstered. "My name is Professor Cedar." Brazen in his lecture, he told us all of his life accomplishments, how he was in a newspaper at a young age. Then Professor Cedar told us of his military exploits. From the military, we heard about his activism tales. All the time along, there was no mention of Christ. It was an inescapable nightmare. I would close my eyes and hope not to see him, yet each time I opened them, he appeared closer in proximity, until he was right above me, speaking down to me. Cedar lectured the class in front of my seat. Occasionally, he would look down at me. When class was over, I tried to dart from the back of the class straight to the door. Cedar had his eyes fixed upon me and tracked me with his gaze. That night, I spent time hugging my pillow in the dark, huddled in the corner of my bed. I'm grown, I kept reciting. Though I couldn't understand why I was feeling this way, each day the class spun further into eccentric behavior. Cedar would show us cartoons to teach a class. Sometimes he would act out biblical moments with a puppet. Constantly, Cedar would call upon students to join him and take over a puppet. As bizarre as it was, students continued to play along. Some would complain that after his class they would find an adult coloring sheet in their backpack. No one could explain the phenomenon. Sometimes he'd invite his favorite students to a private party. Word spread quickly about how strange of a man Cedar was, especially his after-hour antics. He would charm students, telling them they could become a part of his family, though he only accepts the most special and the most coveted. One day there was a snowstorm. Most students couldn't make it. There was only another student, Cedar, and I. Silence fell in the room, and he sat entranced looking at me. As the other students fell into a deep sleep, Cedar smiled upon me. He rested his eyes on me. Heaviness is all I could feel. Sweetly he whispered, "Shh." A forked tongue protruded through the gap in his teeth. Behind his glasses glowed an amber hue and split eyes. I could feel pins and needles piercing into my skin. In and out of sleep I faded. All appendages became numb. I wanted to scream, yet I felt my lips were pinned shut. Darkness fell upon me. Can I still be asleep? Instantly I awoke in the classroom, though now I'm in front facing my class. My perception was misconstrued and altered. Everyone seemed far, yet large. Up high, yet I wasn't necessarily at a height. The world quaked, rocked, and turned about, yet I was never voluntarily moved through space and time. Even in this dream, I felt erratic and tumbling out of control until I plunged into darkness with giant rectangles of light above. Then giant amber eyes and a dark face hovered above me. I then heard, "I never gave up on you."